We need to talk about the lie. You know the one.
Hmm.
It's on every classroom wall. It's the plot of every sports movie ever made. If you work hard, you will succeed.
It's the ultimate comfort blanket, isn't it?
It is. It's such a clean equation. Input dot sweat, output dot glory. It tells us we're the captains of our own ships.
And that the universe is basically a meritocracy. If you just have enough grit, the world has to give you what you want. It feels fair.
Exactly. But today,
Mm,
today we are going to take that comfort blanket and maybe set it on fire.
just a little bit.
We are doing a deep dive into a transcript from a video called 33 Lucky You by the creator Soren. And I have to be honest with you, this one, it kind of messed me up a little.
Oh, it's a destabilizing perspective for sure.
It's not just challenging a worldview. It feels like it's suggesting that effort might actually be the least important part of the success equation.
I think that's right. I mean, it attacks the ego directly.
Yeah.
We love to think our wins are all us and our losses are, just bad luck. This source completely flips that.
It flips it on its head.
It argues that success isn't about how much control you have. It's about how much catastrophe you manage to avoid.
That's the line. That's the one that just stuck in my head. Success as the absence of disaster. But okay, before we get too deep, let's unpack the basics, because the source does start with effort.
Right.
My first reaction is, are you telling me I shouldn't try? Should I just sit on the couch and wait for a bag of money to fall on my lap?
No, and that's a super important distinction to make right away. The source isn't a manifesto for laziness. Soren says it directly. People talk about effort. A lot, of course, effort matters.
So you have to do the work.
You have to do the work. I mean, think of it this way.
Yeah.
If you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win the lottery. Effort is just buying the ticket.
Okay, so effort is the entry fee. I like this.
Precisely. It's the prerequisite. If
Yeah.
you don't put in the work, your chances are zero. But the dangerous part of our culture, the whole hustle culture thing, is that we treat effort like a guarantee.
Like if I buy enough tickets, I have to win eventually.
Exactly. And the source's core argument is that while effort is necessary, success is never just effort.
That is such a tough pill to swallow, because effort is the one thing I can actually feel, you know?
It's the tangible part.
Yeah, if I stay up till 2 a.m. on a project, I feel the fatigue, I feel the agency, it feels like I'm moving the needle. But the source introduces what I'm kind of calling the everything must go right theory.
Mm.
It's not just about pushing the rock up the hill, it's about making sure the hill doesn't, collapse while you're pushing.
That's a perfect way to put it. The source actually breaks this down into a specific list of variables, pillars, really, that have to align perfectly.
Okay, what are they?
We're talking health, timing, genes, environment, and opportunity. The whole argument is that success needs all of these things to hold steady. It's not about doing one big thing right.
It's about 1,000 little invisible things not going wrong.
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's break these down, because listed out like that, it sounds a little abstract. But the first one is health. And honestly, this is the one we all ignore until we can't.
We take it for granted. I mean, think of success like a Jenga tower. We spend all our time focusing on the blocks we're placing on top. That's our career, our skills, whatever.
Right, the hustle.
But health is the table the tower is sitting on. You can be the most talented architect in the world, placing those blocks perfectly. But if someone kicks the table,
It's over.
it's all over. A chronic illness, a sudden injury, a mental health crisis, the whole tower falls. And it doesn't matter how hard you hustled on those blocks.
It matters 0%. The source is so blunt about it, miss just one and success collapses.
You can't run a company from an ICU bed. You can't be a gold medalist if your body breaks down a week before the Olympics. We see good health as the baseline, but really, maintaining it over a 40-year career it's a statistical miracle.
Wow. Okay, that puts the fragility into perspective. But what about timing? This one feels particularly cruel to me. You can be the right person with the right idea, but if the calendar's wrong, you're just a failure.
Absolutely. This is where the whole just world idea really falls apart. Just look at the tech world. We look at the titans and we say, they were geniuses. And maybe they were, but
Or were they just surfing a wave?
they were surfing a wave. I mean, if Mark Zuckerberg was born 10 years earlier, he's not building Facebook. He's probably building a really complicated database for a library or something.
Right.
Or think about the dot-com bubble. You had companies like Pets.com that failed spectacularly. People laughed at them. Who's going to buy dog food online?
Oh, I remember that.
20 years later, Chewy.com is a multi-billion-dollar giant doing the exact same thing. The founders of Pets.com might have worked harder. They might have been smarter. But the timing was off. The infrastructure wasn't there yet.
So their failure wasn't a lack of grit. It was a calendar error.
It was a timing error.
Yeah.
And you cannot hustle your way into changing the year you live in.
That's depressing. But maybe not as depressing as the next one. Let's talk about genes. The biological lottery.
Ah, yeah. This is the one that really gets under people's skin.
Because it just attacks the whole self-made man myth right at its root.
It does. We want to believe we're all blank slates.
Right.
That if I just read enough books, I can rewire my brain to be, I don't know, Elon Musk.
Of course. But biology is, well, it's real.
It's very real. And we're not just talking about being born tall enough to play basketball. We're talking about the brain itself. Think about grit. That ability to work 18 hours a day and stay focused, we praise that. We call it a virtue.
He's got such a strong work ethic.
But what if that work ethic is just neurochemistry? What if your brain is just wired to give you a massive hit of dopamine every time you cross something off a to-do list?
Then you're basically addicted to the work.
You're addicted to the work because it feels good. Whereas someone else, their brain doesn't give them that same reward signal. If you struggle with executive function or you're predisposed to anxiety, those are biological realities. That's the hardware you got.
So if you're born with a brain that naturally focuses and handles stress well, you basically started the race halfway to the finish line.
You didn't earn your temperament. You just received it.
That completely recontextualizes the whole lazy versus ambitious debate.
Right. And then you layer on top of that environment. The source says, where you are planted determines how you grow.
I love that phrasing, but it's also so tragic. It's the whole zip code destiny thing.
It's the soil. You can be the highest quality seed, have the genius genes and perfect health. But if you're planted in a war zone or a community with failing schools or a country with no internet, you're not going to bloom into a tech mogul.
You're just trying to survive.
That's exactly the point. The environment creates the ceiling for your potential. And finally, you have opportunity.
The sliding doors.
The doors that open. Or the doors that just slam shut in your face. And that's often completely external.
Like bumping into a future investor at a coffee shop.
Or having a boss who decides to mentor you instead of seeing you as a threat. You can knock on doors all day, but you can't force someone to answer.
You can't. So when you look at that whole list, health, timing, genes, environment, opportunity, and you accept the premise that miss just one and success collapses.
It just changes the entire geometry of success.
Yeah, it turns success from this, statue of granite that we built into a house of cards.
A house of cards built in a wind tunnel.
That's a terrifying image. We look at a successful person and think, wow, look at that solid foundation. But this source says we should look and think, wow, it's a mathematical miracle. None of those cards fell down.
It is a visualization of fragility. And this leads us to the part of the source that I found the most haunting. Specific line, we control very little in life, not even our own bodies.
That line just stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
It does.
Because our entire culture is built on control. Mindset training, discipline, biohacking. We're told we can master our bodies.
But this just cuts right through all of that. It's a philosophical hammer blow. But I mean, think about it. Do you tell your heart to beat?
No, thankfully. I'd forget.
Right. Do you tell your cells how to divide? Do you control your pancreas? No. We are essentially riding in a biological machine that operates mostly on autopilot.
So it's like, okay, it's like you're a little kid in the backseat of a car and you've got one of those plastic toy steering wheels.
Okay.
You're turning it left and right, making vroom, vroom noises, and you feel like you're driving. But really, your parents are in the front seat actually driving. The car, your body, the economy, your genes, it's going where it's going. You're just holding the plastic wheel.
That is a humbling, slightly terrifying, but perfect analogy. That's the body argument. If we don't even control the vessel we live in, how can we possibly claim to control the outcome of our careers? If you can't guarantee your heart won't stop in the next 10 minutes, how can you guarantee a 5-year business plan?
You can't. It's all an illusion of control. So what is success then? If I'm not the driver, what does it mean when I arrive at the destination?
And this is where the source pivots to a new definition. And I think this is the most important idea in the whole thing. It says, success doesn't prove control.
Success doesn't prove control. So holding the trophy doesn't mean I steered the ship.
Nope. According to Soren, holding the trophy proves something much more humble. It proves, and I'm quoting, You were lucky enough that nothing went wrong.
Nothing went wrong. Wow.
It's a heavy shift.
It really is. It moves us from, like, conquering the world to surviving the chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about what that phrase implies. It implies the default state of the universe is chaos. It's entropy. For things to go right, for your health to hold, the timing to align, the gene lottery to pay out, that is a statistical anomaly.
It's survivorship bias on steroids. We look at the winners and think they found the secret formula, but really they just walked through a minefield and didn't step on a mine.
And because they didn't step on a mine, now they write books about how to detect mines. But maybe they just got lucky. And the person who walked right next to them, who worked just as hard, stepped on a mine 3 feet from the finish line.
Okay, so if we accept this, that success is just the absence of disaster, what does that do to our pride? Because, I'll be honest, I like feeling proud of my work. I like feeling like I did this.
And you should. The source addresses that. It says, if you succeed, be proud, but.
A big but.
A very big but. You can be proud of the effort. You can be proud of the work you did within the opportunity you had. But you have to decouple that pride from the arrogance of control.
So it's the difference between saying, I built this empire because I'm a genius and I worked really hard to build this and I'm incredibly grateful the ground didn't shake while I was laying the bricks.
That's it exactly. It forces a kind of radical humility.
It does.
And that leads to the emotional core of the source, which I think is really a call for empathy. The source asks us to remember a specific group, countless people who worked just as hard or even harder and failed.
The invisible majority, the ones who never get a magazine cover.
We don't see them. And our society has this bias. We almost can't help it. If someone failed, they must have done something wrong. They were lazy. They didn't want it enough.
We victim blame failures all the time. It makes us feel safer, right? If I say he failed because he was lazy, then I can tell myself, well, I'm not lazy, so I won't fail.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But this source rips that away. It says those people failed because one condition broke due to bad luck. Maybe their health broke. Maybe the timing broke.
Man, it breaks my heart to think about that unlucky hard worker. The person who did everything right. Woke up at 5 a.m., studied, practiced, but the economy crashed the year they graduated.
Or they had a bad diagnosis at age 25. Or they were just born in a zip code that no investor ever looks at. Realizing that person exists is, I think it's crucial for a healthy society.
How so?
Because if you believe success is purely from effort, you look down on people who struggle. You judge them. But if you accept the nothing went wrong theory, then you look at those who struggle and you realize, that could have been me.
It creates a bridge of empathy.
It does. It stops us from worshiping the successful as gods and seeing the unsuccessful as, like, failures of character. It humanizes the whole spectrum.
But I want to push back one last time, because I can hear someone listening right now thinking, if it's all luck, why bother? If I'm just holding a plastic steering wheel, why not just let go?
And that's the danger zone, right?
Oh.
It's easy to slide from this into nihilism. Nothing matters, so I'll do nothing. But that ignores the first part of the whole equation.
The entry fee.
The lottery ticket. You can't control if you win, but you absolutely can ensure you lose by not playing. The source isn't telling us to give up. It's telling us to change our relationship with the outcome.
So play the game, but understand the dice are loaded.
And that everyone else's dice are loaded too, just differently. You do the work because the work has value, or because you want to take your odds from 0% to whatever small percentage we actually have.
You know, letting go of that illusion of control is scary, but isn't it also kind of a relief?
I think so. The pressure of total control is just crushing. If you think you're 100% responsible for every outcome, then every setback is a personal indictment. It proves you aren't good enough.
That's exhausting. It leads to burnout.
But if you accept the role of luck of, health, genes, timing, you can breathe. You can say, I did my part. The rest was the universe. You can focus on your effort and release the attachment to the specific outcome.
That's a powerful distinction. It allows you to forgive yourself for things that go wrong.
And to be kinder to others when things go wrong for them.
So to bring this all together, we started with the idea that effort is everything. We've journeyed to this realization that success is actually this: fragile alignment of health, genes, timing, environment, and opportunity.
A Jenga tower on a shaky table. A house of cards standing only because the wind didn't happen to blow.
And we've arrived at this place of humility, where success isn't a badge of dominance, but a sign that, as the source says, nothing went wrong.
It's a perspective that demands we stay humble in our wins and compassionate in our losses.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over. We spend so much time analyzing high performers. We buy their books, we copy their routines, we drink their green
We're
juice.
hoping to replicate the result.
Exactly. But based on what we've talked about today, if success is simply evidence that nothing went wrong for that person, do we need to completely redefine how we judge merit? Are we celebrating talent, or are we just celebrating good fortune? And when you look at the person next to you who's struggling, ask yourself, is it because they aren't trying? Or is it simply because one of their invisible pillars, health, timing, genes, gave way?
It's a question that changes how you see everyone around you.
It's certainly changed how I see things. Thanks for diving in with us.
A pleasure, as always.